Hello, everybody. Catholic Dad episode number 111. God is good. Um, the little baby's sleeping and he's doing great. Well, anyway, Jussie Smollett, I want to touch what happened yesterday. I smell a rat. Jussie Smollett, essentially, they're dropping all charges against him in Chicago. Just to recap, he's the gay black actor that is accused of faking a crime against himself by hiring two Nigerians to beat him up and fake that they were white men. They had a MAGA hat on and they were going to lynch him and pour bleach on him. And well, anyway, so he had 16 counts of something against him, from the city of Chicago, and he was facing some serious jail time, heavy penalties, and so on and so forth. But the lead prosecutor, who apparently was Obama appointee, got him off, and he apparently was they were acquaintances, and they had some commonality. And she recused her from the case, but her deputy essentially dropped all charges against Jussie Smollett. Now, in return, Jussie Smollett doesn't get his bail money back out, which is $10,000, and I think he's doing some community service just to make the case go away. This is a massive problem in terms of the order of justice. And the reason why, and I'm not upset that Jussie Smollett's going away, but I'm upset with the way that it's occurring, because either one of two ways should occur once charges are brought against somebody. Either one, the prosecutor comes out and says, we made an error and there's not enough evidence to convict or indict him, or you should at least brought him to an indictment trial. And then they say, well, we're dropping charges because we don't have enough information or enough evidence. He's innocent until proven guilty. Or number two, you let him go with seizing his bail money if he admits he's guilty, right? Those are the two options. The way it is now, Jussie Smollett has admitted no guilt, and he no longer keeps his bail money, so he gave up $10,000 of his own bail money. That is tantamount to a buyout, a bribe, essentially, like that. Because you can't, you think about how nefarious or cronyistic or nepotistic this could be in the future, where some famous dude that gets accused of a crime could just give up his bail money to just make the whole thing go away and not admit guilt. That is an abrogation of justice. You're not allowed to do that. And the city of Chicago, I think, is probably going to be in some trouble for this one, because that's essentially a payout, a bailout. And, the New York Fire Department's famous. If you know the circles of what goes on in the New York Fire Department, they're famous for their fire inspectors to come in and tell business owners, listen, we could bring these health fire code things against you in exchange, and this will be $10,000 or $15,000 in fines. Or you can pay us $5,000 and we'll just walk away right now. And the businessman doesn't want to get all tied up and entangled in these things, so he just walks. He writes a $5,000 check. Fire department goes away, and he's good for another year. Now the same thing with Jussie Smollett is, oh, by the way, I can arrest you for these charges, and you might be able to keep or make it go away by giving up your bail money. Or we can make it go away for $5,000 right now. And this creates, if you don't have an endpoint of justice, if you don't have an endpoint where either the prosecutor says there's not enough information, which they didn't do in this case, or the convicted says I'm guilty and I'm sorry for it, and oh, by the way, you get to keep my bail money, that's the endpoint of justice. If you don't have that, then the system becomes rife for corruption and nepotism, where you can abuse it on both sides of the aisle. You can abuse it from the accused, right? If the accused has enough money, boom, he can just make it go away. And the whole social justice warriors are always screaming and yelling about that one, which is ironic in this case, because Jussie Smollett is a social justice warrior, and by the way, he just bought his way out of the criminal justice system. So yeah, that's funny, not so funny, right? And then it's rife for corruption the other direction, that the people put in power the authority of the law and the justice system itself can now use this to accuse people of certain crimes that may or may not have occurred, and you don't have to follow through on it, and just take their bail money, and boom, it goes away, and suddenly you end up funding the system that way, and that's not right either. So there has to be a logical endpoint in all orders of justice, and the endpoint has to be either A, the dude's guilty, or B, there's not enough evidence, or the dude's guilty, or the dude's innocent, and they find him innocent, or there's not enough evidence to bring trial against him. Those are the three options, and you can't have one of these things middle of the road, like, hey, we have enough evidence to bring you to trial, but we're going to sort of ignore it in exchange for $10,000. You can't do that. That is It's awful. It's really awful. I smell a rat. And by the way, the liberal end of things here might actually get their they might actually get their own justice, because here's the deal: is federal hate crime legislation. He threw this into the realm of federal hate crime legislation when there's a couple white dudes in a MAGA hat carrying a noose around and some bleach, right? So the feds have their antennas up on this, and if you make it a federal hate crime, and suddenly the prosecutor's office of the city of Chicago makes it just go away in exchange for a $10,000 bribe, you can't make hate crimes go away that easily, people. And so I kind of hope the Department of Justice comes in and essentially takes the prosecutorial team and starts ripping them apart a little bit and saying, listen, why are you letting a victim of hate crime or somebody who perpetrated a hate crime walk away? That's not right, because if it happened in the other direction, white guy fakes some black crime or something like that, or a straight guy faked a gay crime or something like that, everybody would be madder than heck. But in this one, everybody should have the same righteous anger and annoyance with the whole situation. And so justice needs to be served. And in summary, I'll say it one more time. Either A, the prosecutor's office comes out and says there's not enough information, or not enough evidence to hold a trial against him, number one, and they don't have enough for an indictment. Number two, Jussie Smollett says, I'm guilty, you can keep my bail money and I'll do some community service. Or number three, they take him to trial and he's innocent. Those are the three options. There's no option of, we have enough to bring charges against you, you don't have to admit you're guilty, and you just pay us $10,000. That's a bribe. That's what that is. It's a bribe. And I kind of think if you use the criminal justice system that way, you should be serving, and I'm not talking Jussie Smollett here, I'm talking the prosecutor's office in Chicago. You should have charges brought against you. You can't do that. And so this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. And again, I'm annoyed because I'm the son of a cop. Like, the cops go and do all this hard freaking work, and they put their lives on the damn line to try to get, the information. And they just kind of throw it out for 10 grand, and the guy doesn't even have to admit, and he goes La La Land back to Hollywood doing his little funny dance on the TV. No. I mean, that's like letting these, these pedophiles or just go, like the Michael Jacksons of the world, or these drug dealers, you can go just based upon this. The cops get mad at this stuff, and so I wouldn't want to be the prosecutor with all these cops running around Chicago. I also want to be Jussie Smollett the next time he has some kind of one of his artsy fartsy gay rampages, where he fabricates a crime against straight white people and tries to make the spotlight. The cops are not going to look happily upon him. So this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Justice needs to be served in every capacity in this case. It has not so far, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully the feds come up and do something right. God bless you. Have a nice day, and get the Mass, pray the Daily Rosary, and like or subscribe and share with your friends if you like. God bless.